Doing that with non-dominant hand is hard. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let's Play. I am your host, Father Evans. Good to be back with you all today. Good to see you, Brayherd. Good to see you, Inca. Good to see you, Chizo. Good to see you, Mel. Good to see you, Kevin. Hope everyone's having a good day. And Brayherd, congratulations. You won the Crown of Furstendom, a crown that is perfectly normal. Nothing weird about it. Nothing nefarious, certainly. Anyway, I too want to work from Lurk. No, wait. That's not right. Anyway, we're going to be playing more Minecraft, working on the missile silo today for the gym. I kind of want to design the titular missile, so I have some ideas. To that end, let's dive in. This is not my beautiful home. This is not my beautiful ice field. That mountain's pretty cool, though. If the church is at home, do all priests work from home? Basically. I mean, it helps that the home is physically connected to the church. Jur? Is that your new name, Jur? Anyway, what we're gonna need is some sand. So I've come to this desert to get some sand. Are these what I think they are? Are these Joshua trees? No, it's yucca. Okay. Still cool. Excuse me? What was that? Pokemon be out here making noises and things. Hey, Katie. You know, I saw someone on Twitch the other day whose username was just Inkling. Wait, what's this other block I'm picking up? Cracked sand? Sandy dirt? There's too many mods. Too many mods. Am I desanding the dunes? No, I'm just getting a little bit to make some concrete. Well, I knew there's Inky. Nothing on Hermitcraft level, no. This is also, as a reminder, my first foray really into modded Minecraft. And it has some quality of life stuff like that where it replaces your tools that I quite like. The other ink. Yeah, but I met someone who's just an inkling. Well, Kevin could tell us more, but it's definitely more than just the Cobblemon mod. Inkling girl, maybe that was it. I don't know. I just thought it was Inkling and it just made me smile. Anyway, we don't need a ton of concrete, I think. We're gonna have to make it into 3 colors, though. White, black, and red. Lots of mods. Indeed, there are. Home is that way. Go, Heracross. I Pokechoo's you. Blightfall, Project Ozone, or all the mods. The fact that there's something labeled all the mods is terrifying. You remove the cooldown on Waystones. Nice. Hefler, are you looking at job listings? Oh, well, good luck with that. I hope you find something. How much reds do I have with which to make some dye? Ooh, you can make white dye with bone, right? I guess I'm gonna have to find some water and some squid. Yeah, okay, good. Let's make 24 of that for now. And let's make some more white dye. Make 24 of that for now. I have my two teams fully picked out. I just don't have them at a good level. I haven't, since I was away during Christmas and New Year's. This is the first time I've actually gotten to play in a while. Oh, the gym setup? Working on it. Hey, Stella. I had a dream last night about making Nanab berry pie. How did the Nanab berry pie taste in your dream? What about my personal team? I more or less have that, but again, it's not leveled. Like, I don't have my, Bulbasaur isn't leveled up to be a Blastoise yet. Hey, love. It was sweet, like blueberries. Well, I suppose it could really taste like whatever you want. Oh, come on, it's basically night. Let Colonel Oshib Kishinek go to bed early. He's an old man. Hey, Craig. How did my chocolate potato cake turn out? It turned out pretty well. I didn't let the potatoes cool quite enough, so it melted the butter, so they separated a little bit. But it was still pretty tasty. Did I say Bulbasaur? We found the fake Pokemon fan. Get him. Heracross Dive Bomb. Wait, Heracross can fly? Yeah, it's a beetle. It has wings. Nice bone crunch. You know, just peak audio around here. Greg Vromo was great. Taking a quick break to sit outside the back patio with the puppies. Aw, that does sound nice. Okay, so oh, I need a stone cutter to do that. Okay. So stone cutter is 3 pieces of stone and an iron ingot. Do I have any loose cooked stone? I do. Let's go. Corner trim. Trophy. Finding all sorts of fancy things. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm thinking is for the cone is using these concrete roof pieces. What kind of gym am I making? Like type or the theming? Gym kind. Yeah, we're getting swole. It's a missile silo. I could probably fly there faster with Heracross, but I live here now. Make a big greenhouse. Oh no, the Catholics are armed. Well, I suppose since Major Sheepkishneg is technically from the not USSR stand, or not USSR stand, he might actually be Orthodox. So what I was thinking... Yeah, and then this will be... We'll make this deeper, and we'll also make it, like, black, so to give the illusion that it's, like... just deeper than it is. Break that off. Oh, no! Remember, consider your best spell. Don't fire. And then something to cap it off, but so we'll have that, and then this will replace with it being white, which we could probably actually do. You could probably cheat a little. Just a little bit as a treat. Because this is the powder. Gotta run. Hey, good to see you, Stella. You take care. Filio Quake. That is a very high and inside joke. Stop it. Stop it. Ice is full of water. An inside joke, thousands of years in the making. Coming to a theater near you, probably never. So I'm going to need the walls here uniform, and I might just go with cobblestone. But what I was thinking in terms of quote-unquote cheating, originally I was thinking like I might, and I might still do this, if we want this to be plain white concrete, we need to apply water. But I might prefer this textured variant, honestly, of the uncured variety. I don't know. What do you think, chat? So yeah, we'll have this go down a bit more, and then we'll fade to black. And then the actual fighting ring will be an ice platform above everything. Gym leader in this economy? Hey, Beer Fox. Oh. Cannot summon my Pokemon right now. It's a little glitched. Usually the best solution for that is logging out and logging back in. But that makes for bad television. Now, Red has a very nice enchanting setup at their base. Might be able to go over there to get... No, what's the word I'm looking for? Silk Touch. Get Silk Touch on a pickaxe. All the poker coins. Oh no, I have no of the poker coins. Oh, something's hurting itself on the bushes. I do have the mysterious Pokemon statues as you enter the gym. Yeah, it wants to earn a badge. What flavor is my gym? Ice and bug. I will admit, visually, I'm leaning more on the ice for the theming of the gym, but I think bug still fits because of the joke of what Oshipka means. Gives you shivers. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. I wish coal could make black dye. I feel like it should. What happened to my craft my everything craft list? Do you guys have chisel or the one with the tables? We have tables for sure. We might also have the one with the chisel. These are definitely Kevin questions. I was just asked, do you want to join a Cobblemon server? And I was like, sure. And then I found out there's all these other mods. And I went, okay. I don't know what most of these are. Charcoal doesn't know? That's a good question. I don't know. You don't remember the one with the tables? That's okay. I don't remember most things. Make the walk up to the gym the same. There we go. Can't play baseball. Come on, I need to at least have a backpack and a way to sort your inventory. We do have an auto sorter. I just refuse to use it because I forget. I guess I don't refuse. I just forget. You don't like that one? That's fair. Oguracath, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. I love that I still get startled every time that note plays. Certainly means I notice it. Do I prefer St. Thomas Aquinas to St. Augustine of Hippo? I guess it depends on what matter. I think both have their places and are both profound theologians. And I think we as a church do our best to listen to both. That said, if I were to study one, probably Augustine, but I have a soft spot for patristics. But I do quite like a lot of Aquinas, so my answer is yes. Hey, Bad Roxy. I mean, if I really had the choice and the time, I'd love to just study more Saint Ephrem of Syria under the guidance and tutelage of... oh shoot, his name is escaping me. 8-Bit Rockman, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. He's generally considered like the translator of Saint Ephrem. Sebastian Brock. You got hooked on Inigo de Loyola in high school? Nice. Spiritual exercises are always a good thing. We really should call him Inigo more often, shouldn't we? It's just so much more fun to say. Oh, hello, ominous hole. Yeah, I don't know. It's... I think Augustine and Aquinas both have their place in our canon of theologians, and approach things in very different ways in very different times. And it's worth studying both in their context and knowing that both of them teach us a lot of beautiful things. 2 deep equals ominous. Well, it showed up out of nowhere, so that's ominous. We have a Rota. Well, happy feast day of Saint Raymond of Peñafort, a Catalan Dominican. Not really talking about him. The gospel today is Mark. It follows up right after the feeding of the 5,000. Jesus goes off to pray for a bit, and the apostles get in a boat, and there's a bad storm, and Jesus walks out on the water, and they freak out. And he mentions they did not understand the feeding of the 5,000. And there are many ways to read that, but one way is that it's kind of a nod and a wink to you as the reader saying, ah, but you get it. I think that should be deep enough. Yeah, but they think he's a ghost, which seems an odd conclusion to jump to. Okay, I'm gonna leave that so the concrete powder doesn't fall. They have no experience or stories to base it on? I mean, yes and no. There are plenty of scriptural stories of miracles and the like. It's aim for some parkour to get to the leader. I thought about that at one point, but then I was like, that sounds too hard. No, I'm going to put a railing around it. Of all the saints before the 21st century, which saint do you think would be most likely to play video games? Ooh. be the most likely to play video games? Most of them gaming is for everyone. Yeah, but who's the most? Who from the Old Testament would be the most enthusiastic gamer? Enthusiastic gamer is something different, and in that answer, I'd say Moses. You know what I could see? I could see St. Clair being like really into cozy games, like Animal Crossing. I just need something to kill time wandering for years. Well, I mean, also just some of the other accounts of things he gets up to. I think he would be enthusiastic. Is she obscure? No. She's the foundress of the Second Order Franciscans. She was a companion to St. Francis of Assisi. She's patron saint of television. There are the Poor Claires. You were setting up a gaming pun. Huh. Huh. I see it now. I see it. I see it, and I hate it. I hate that I missed it. Chinese sent 33 expeditions. Ah, see, now that's where you got the joke wrong, because Expedition 33 is not the 33rd expedition. It's in fact the 67th expedition to go. A little distracted? Never. I just noticed I had one piece of bread left, so I'm like, oh, we need to go take care of this. I need to harvest what I have sown. Which possibly would be most likely to play Doom. Yeah, probably Peter. No, you can land now. You can land, Derek Cross. Do you think Lanya's been playing Total War Rome? Sure. That sounds like a Brayherd question. Do I have any spare wheat? I need to organize my inventory so much. To make more white concrete. What's saying with play Epic 4X games? Probably Saint Olaf. No, Aquinas would be playing point-and-click adventure games. On the contrary, I write that the spoon should open the lock. Served by Crusader Kings. Hey, I'm in this. Well, Joan of Arc would, but as we learned from Bill and Ted, she's too busy leading the Jazzercise class. There we go. Ah! No one saw that. Cosplay boxing game. Think he plays sport? No. What would God play? I was thinking, what saint? I was like, well, he's not a saint, but Gregor Mendel. Pantheon would play gacha games. We need 4 of those, because now we're going to make some fins. Does this not have? There it is, steep roof base. What saint would play League of Legends? I think that's a saint who'd have to be known sort of in God's heart only, because their life probably wouldn't. Their life of playing League of Legends probably wouldn't get them canonized. And again, we don't need full fancy actual fins, but something that like is evoking the fin that you when you look down. Oh, come on. I could summon my giant Avalug down here. I'm going to have to figure out some way to build this and then get back out. So I think I might just have to climb up the concrete tower. Water elevator with torch or glowstone? Yeah, but then it's full of water forever. Once I'm done building it, I don't need to go back down there. That's the thing. That's just a lost torch forever. How much longer before some upstart trainer comes after my badges? I have to get my team up to level 50. And then at that point... But that's looking pretty decent. You can kind of see the fins a little. Then yeah, if we make that black concrete down there, it'll just kind of like fade into the nothingness. What does my Minecraft skin look like? I can't show you right now because my inventory's too full. I am the ice gym leader. Also bug gym leader. Because we're dual typing our gyms. That is why I have Avalug, the Massive. Are there any S tier bugs? Weevils are pretty cute. I'm a fan of ants. I think ants are pretty cool. My organization is terrible right now. Please just ignore it. Frostmoth. I think that's in Cobblemon, but I have not come across it. Anyway, here's the question about my skin. But here's my teams. So for Bug, I have a Wimpod, so I have Water type. I have this Pineco, who's shiny. Combi, who I need to level up so it'll evolve into Vespa Queen, and it is a female. Durant, so I have Steel. And Combi also provides flying. Joltik provides electric. And then Heracross provides fighting. Is it always ordinary type in Minecraft? You know, I put the armor on and you just can't see. Or if I just take that off, it looks like suspenders. Which they would watch Father Ted. I think they'd all watch over him from heaven and be like, oh no, not again. Anyway, for ice, we have Glaceon, Delibird to provide flying. I tried to have dual type everything with one pure type, just to have some diversity. Then we have Snover to provide grass moves, Swinub for rock or for ground, Champagne, the Spheal, who will not be evolving because Spheal, provide water, and then Avalug, another just pure ice, but big. Anyway, let's go try to find some squid. Oh, wrong Pokemon. What is the bug evolution? I don't think there is one. You're just coming in with a fire team. Oh no! I think Pallet Town's near a pretty large body of water. Backup team made entirely of pupating bug types. Yeah, I'll have Kakuna and Metapod and kind of bug should bug EDP? Probably like a beetle. We're St. John play. Yeah, we're St. John. Ladybug would be cute. That, yep. Well, ladybugs are a kind of beetle. So anyone ever wondered what? No, bad brainer. John the Beloved would probably something story-based. Ultra rare Squirtle. Oh, I already have a Squirtle. Wait, are you saying in academia having a Squirtle is having a grant? We had a Squirtle, but it evolved. I haven't had a chance to really, like, go out and do some level grinding with my Pokemon. That is a huge Goldeen. Look at the size of that Goldeen. Who operates the government in Pokemon? Well, that implies that there is a government. They're just letting children out into the street and battling their animals. Enjoyer of the Elder Scrolls series? What saint likes shouting? They'd like Skyrim. Are there heirs? Or is that just an honorary title? Who's the patron saint of yodeling? I'm not sure there specifically is one, but I could be wrong. Also, this Meowth variant is terrifying. You feel like Susan from Marriage Council? That's okay. You're not asking sort of the Susan questions. Duck! That's just a duck. That's not a Pokemon. I feel like, Oguri, you're inventing like a new card game. What saint? You know, it's like an apples to apples style question. Who's the patron saint of, or who would enjoy? And then boom, you got the cards. All duck team would be pretty cinema. Why would it be cinema? So why are you speaking half in German? Not a duck with a leak? It is a little weird that Farfetch'd walks around with its own seasoning. Thank you, Squids, for the ink sacks. Wait, what? Squid. Calamari. Raw calamari. What? How do I have cooked calamari from a squid? Easy way to learn Latin on your own? Yeah, I guess any of the language apps. I mean, honestly, Latin's not that hard of a language to learn. It's just a lot of memorization. So, honestly, you can buy just like a textbook. You just gotta learn all your declensions. I found your book. I found To Serve Man. Oh, that's not a cookbook. It's an instruction manual. Mel wants a mod poll. Mods, go ahead. Throw a poll up in chat. Get really spicy. Make the poll best Pokemon region. Would enjoy a Fallout series. Probably a hermit of some kind, since they'd be wandering the wasteland on their own for much of the game. Lurk. Hey, thank you for the lurk, Chizo. I'll cook up this calamari because why not? Extra food source. Calamari. I like calamari quite a bit, actually. Yeah, normally there's supposed to be one of the mods is supposed to have all the things you can craft. Greenhouse and Shannon Gale is the fastest. Should Father Evan make that apples to apples card game? I don't know if I can. I think the copyright belongs to Guri. It's sport pretty make humanity all over again. Recreate random stuff. I don't know. Oh, Gale did not do the poll. Squid. Okay, so I'm gonna try something just for fun. Let's disconnect, rejoin. Nope, it did not fix it. There they are. I had to press the hotkey. So various ways to make black dye. Wither rose, ink sac. Oh, black apricorns can do it. Okay. That I can do. And I have a tree of... I have 2 trees of those, so I don't care. Yeah, apples to apples. It's the family-friendly version of Cards Against Humanity. Lurking. No work today, but to-do list is mighty long. Hey, it's all good. Hope you get some of that to-do list checked off. What does Paulist Fathers do? So I'm a member of the Paulist Fathers, and that will just bring up a link to, I think, our Wikipedia page is what I set it up to. I forget. It was a while ago that I made that. But just to tell you a little bit about us. It does link to our Wikipedia page. Where did I put that gravel? You have a question, it's kind of dumb. That's okay. I have lots of questions and they're dumb. What's the difference between me and a diocesan priest? Hey, no, that is a great question. So, in church hierarchy and organization, we have our diocese, right? And those cover a particular geographical region. Canon law refers to that as a particular church. Fun fact. Within that particular church, a member of who is seeking to become clergy is ordained and incarnated and serves that diocese. So they serve that particular geographic location. That's where they will live, and they'll move throughout it for the most part. Then religious, what I am, members of religious communities don't necessarily serve a singular local particular church, but rather have a mission and live that out in various locations. So like for myself as a Paulist, we serve North America, and that takes the form of parishes and ministries in New York City, Los Angeles, San Diego, Austin, Texas, various foundations. And so whereas a diocesan priest, their first, sort of, you can think of the guiding star of their mission is to be a priest for that particular area, whereas a religious priest is to be a priest living out the mission of their particular community. Does that make sense, Mel? What games would Pope Benedict XV play? I can't say I know enough about Benedict XV personality-wise to be able to answer that. Wait, well, yeah, we'll just put the powder down here. I'll be fine. Is there any relation to the Daughters of St. Paul? Nope. It's actually kind of funny because we were founded around the same time with the same patron, very similar names, very similar charisms regarding use of media. No relation, completely different founders. We consider each other kind of cousins in the religious world, and we're always happy to see the presence of the Daughters of St. Paul, and when they have a foundation near us, like they do in LA, we work alongside them. But canonically, nope. If a priest were to get ordained this year, would well, that would be a decision up to him, really. Ow, my ankles. Fun fact, you have not, Brayherd. You have seen me wearing my habit. Okay, I think the... And technically there is a difference. It just happens that my habit is very cassock-like. Wears traditional clothing or haircuts as a priest in the century not allowed to wear? I mean, I don't think there's any rules against. You know, the classic haircut is the tonsure, and quite frankly, I am very thankful I don't have to have one. In fact, American priests have never been really required to wear the tonsure. It was actually dispensed for American priests. Yeah, it looks good with the black down there, and those will evaporate. It was actually dispensed during the colonial period. Out of fear of it sort of marking priests as being obvious and being targets sort of societally. Is there a group of sisters who provide support for my order of priests? Not my order specifically. We don't have a... So like some groups will have a sometimes known as the second order. So like the Franciscans have the second order is the Poor Clares. So we do not have a equivalent women's branch. And that became more common. It became more common not to do 18th-ish century onward. So could I be moved to whatever area my order needs be? Yep. Yeah, if I were asked to go be pastor in San Diego or San Francisco or whatever, you know, it's like, okay, well, time to move. Do diocesan priests ever move to new dioceses? Sometimes. So a diocesan priest can incarnate into another diocese. It has to be a whole... And a religious priest can actually even leave a religious community and become a diocesan priest through the same process. And there generally has to be like a reason. Like sometimes it might be that, you know, you grew up... Let's say you grew up in New York City and you were a priest of New York City, but then your parents moved to Rochester and then they got elderly and they needed extra care. So as a priest, you could transfer to the Diocese of Rochester to live and serve there to take care of them. More commonly, it's because of missionary needs. So like my parents have a priest who was a priest of Poland originally. And then it's like, hey, we need priests in America. And he was like, great, and went. If you ever get married, do you need to ask the Archbishop for permission for me to perform the Mass? Not... Short, yes, but no. It's... If let's say I were asked to do a wedding or any sacrament really in another diocese where I don't have faculties, because like here I have faculties from the Archbishop to celebrate Mass, hear confessions, anoint the sick, etc. So let's say I were going to Topeka, Kansas, I would need to submit a letter of good standing from my order saying, yep, he's a priest, he's ordained, he's in good standing, he knows what he's doing. And that's really all there is. So if I do like a wedding or a baptism or something, it's a pretty pro forma filling out the form, sending it in kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the sisters who cook for us. Yes, so they belong to the Oblates of Jesus the Priest. who are actually themselves Franciscan. And they don't just serve us here in our house, they actually do serve, I believe they're in the cathedral in Chicago. I know they're at a couple seminaries in America. Their headquarters is in Mexico City. Can you perform weddings for people who aren't Catholic? So long as one of them is Catholic, yes. Otherwise, no. Yeah, it's kind of a thing where it's like the church to maintain sort of first sovereignty is like, look, we preside at the weddings. We allow and approve, and we do not allow our priests just because they are ordained. And I legally am I'm not a justice of the peace because they don't use that term here in New York, but I am legally licensed to preside at weddings here in New York. But as a Catholic priest, I'm only allowed to celebrate weddings where at least one party is Catholic. So like a letter of introduction from D'Artagnan. Very similar, yeah. And it's basically a, yep, this guy, he was ordained here. He's up to date on X, Y, and Z. Doesn't the other person have to be baptized Christian for you to be allowed to do the weddings? Well, no, not necessarily. We do have a wedding rite between a Catholic and a non-baptized person. I've done that rite a couple of times. Most commonly in America, it's between a Catholic and a Jewish person. So because of how I don't have a vow of poverty, but I live a life of gospel simplicity is the language we use, but effectively it's the same thing. I do not draw a salary. So like in that sense, I don't have anything to be taxed anyway. And then the parish as a non-profit organization, as a church, doesn't get taxed. Yeah, it depends on the diocese. Some bishops do grant that dispensation pretty broadly. Because of so like here in New York, you know, where there's a fairly large Jewish population, it's pretty normal and to come across. What was I gonna do next? And it's all part of the paper. It's not a super complicated thing. Let's go where Ren's base is. And let's see if we can't make a Silk Touch pickaxe. Uh-oh. Sam would enjoy horror games the most. I'm trying to think, because I don't play a ton of horror games myself. So I'm trying to think, like, what would... Yeah, I don't know. That one's trickier. I think that'd be a good one for the card game. But yeah, the rite for wedding between a Catholic and a non-baptized person is interesting. It's trimmed down, and then you're allowed to... You can get in some interesting things there where, like, you need a priest to witness it, but, like, you can also have, like, let's say they're Jewish and the Jewish party wanted their rabbi there. You're allowed to do that. I can't see a ton playing Cult of the Lamb, but, you know, you might be... There's always room to be surprised. Who play Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord? I'm gonna go with Olaf again. I feel like he's got kind of a lockdown on those. Oh, Joan of Arc, also a good answer. Louis the Ninth. Okay, where am I headed to get to Ren's place? Cairnwick. Is Constantine canonized? Not in the Roman Church. He is in the Byzantine. Wait. Generally the Orthodox. I don't know about his standing in the Byzantine Catholic, but I know he's canonized in Orthodox tradition. Efficiency. Where's too high of a level? Silk Touch, let's go! Quick, leave before Red notices. Cairnwick's back this way. Yeah, I'd say you're basically right, Beer Fox. There's a concept in canon law. You probably know the word vagrant. You probably come across that as a word in the English language. It actually comes from Latin vagrus, I believe meaning wanderer. And it's a term used in canon law where you can have a vagrant priest or a vagrant clergyman. Basically, the idea is that like every clergy person is incarnated somewhere. So I by virtue of my final profession with the Paulus, I am automatically incarnated. I was automatically incarnated with the Paulus upon my ordination to the diaconate. You know, a priest of the Archdiocese of New York, automatically incarnated by his ordination. there is no such thing ultimately as what's known as a vagrant, like a priest who does not belong to a particular church, who does not have some higher authority to which he must answer. And canon law basically says that vagrants, should they come about, should you meet one, are basically not allowed to do anything. Did that look like a Heracross? It was a Heracross, or is a Heracross, I should say. Also good to see Asphodel. By the way, you should all go give Asphodel Phoenix a follow. She is launching her own Twitch channel tonight, I believe. No pressure. But Asphodel is a friend of mine and from Doxicon. The priest I was talking about here in my city that the Archbishop had to write a letter about. Yeah. Yeah, if he's flagrantly disregarding his bishops, if he's from another diocese and he's flagrantly disregarding his bishop's orders or mandates, yeah. And I think that's part of why your bishop rightly issued that warning, but... Deacons are weird because you could... Yeah, well, you can do that as a priest as well. Like, you can be... And that sometimes happens with, like, retired guys, particularly. But, like, you can be... You can remain incarnated in Diocese X, but serve in Diocese Y. So, like, my example earlier of, like, a priest incarnating to Rochester from New York, he wouldn't necessarily have to incarnate if he didn't want to, and the thing was worked out between the bishops, but because of the way canon law works, you are still subject both locally to a bishop, but also sort of more broadly speaking to a particular bishop. Let's go, Ignatius of Antioch. If an entire diocese goes into heresies, but one single priest is not instantly promoted. No, he would not be instantly promoted. The church I would say, has safeguards where, like, that as a hypothetical today would be very difficult to actually do. But basically, were it to happen, that one priest would remain a priest of that diocese. Now, he might get promoted, not because he's the only one left, but for other reasons. But, you know, it's not a ipso facto promotion. You know, when a seat of a bishop is open, it's not filled by the most senior guy of that diocese. We often see, especially here in America, guys from other dioceses getting placed. Would a priest be without a bishop? Yeah, and that happens. Like, technically right now, the Diocese of New York does not have a it does not have a... How to phrase it? Basically right now, Cardinal Dolan's resignation has been accepted because he was 75 last year, and that is canon law that he submits his resignation. It was accepted. He is now the Apostolic Administrator, which means the day-to-day is largely the same, but there are certain things he's no longer able to do on behalf of the diocese. So in that sense, we are without a bishop. It just happens that our Apostolic Administrator is a bishop. But, you know, I've been in dioceses where, you know, one bishop is moved, and you have to wait a couple of months before a new bishop is named to replace him. So in the Eucharistic prayer, when you say things like, so and so our bishop, you just skip over that line. Same way when there's not a pope. So there were some dioceses earlier last year where, following the death of Pope Francis, excuse me, they would get to that part of the Eucharistic prayer and they'd have neither a pope or a bishop, so they just move on. Your diocese administrator? Well, I believe he was your vicar general. That's different from an apostolic administrator. Although he may have been the apostolic administrator during the interim period. I don't know. Oh, so it was one of them, see? Just for kicks and giggles, I want to see what happens with this one. Oh, that's just pure ice. Okay. Utah typically does go without a bishop for a couple of years. This is true. Well, apparently what the Pope says during the Eucharistic prayer, because a bishop will say, instead of, so-and-so our bishop, because he is the bishop, he'll say, me, your unworthy servant. But when it's the Pope, he says, me, your unworthy servant, who you have chosen to lead the whole church. Mostly mission diocese. That makes sense. Okay, so how wide is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? Because I think we'll make this the edge of it. I had to pull up a circle generator, so it looks like it's 511 is the pattern. So a pretty simple one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something is squeaking. So I'm going to move this over so it's a little easier to get to. And then that one piece of more clear ice I have is going to go in the center. It would be fun to do regular ice all the way around so it's more clear, but that's more rare. And then what we're going to do is, once it's day, I don't know why my Pokemon are glitching out just here. Because as soon as I get back to the house, they're fine. I hope that doesn't affect the gym battling. We're going to make two smaller platforms for the battlers to stand on. What do you mean there's monsters? I'm gonna make some stairs or ladders. In the meantime, because that's how we'll have our folks climb up. You guys would like hippos? Shout out to Art of Marza, who did that last year in the midst of the Moodang hype, doing St. Augustine with Hippo. Ah! Hello, Dionair. Welcome on in, Raiders. Hope you're doing well. How you doing today, Dio? Distraction Raid. I am most distracted. How you doing today, Dio? What were you up to? I think I popped in. You were doing some Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire is it is a game. I want to like it. I just can't get into it. Way too much Slay the Spire. Well, there you go. Need some more cobblestone. Oh, and over here, let's make some doors. And I have one more piece of stone. Perfect. Some stone pressure pads. Mining and crafting is going well. We're working. So this is a Cobblemon server with my friends. Turret type shard. So it's full of Pokemon. I am one of the gym leaders, so right now we're building our gym. I am the ice and bug themed gym. So naturally I built a missile silo. There's another Pokemon themed Minecraft mods. Oh yeah, I know the other one you're talking about. That one's also very popular. Hey, you take care, Gurkath. Good to meet you. Yeah, I can't remember its name, but I know the one you're talking about. Ow. Okay, let's... I hope ladders can go on ice. Okay, they can. Maybe I should have built these on those sides. Yu-Gi-Oh! Mod for Minecraft? That would be crazy. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move these so that they're not right in front of the door. I mean, if they made a magic mod for Minecraft, I'd be... Oh, I'd basically be lost. I do like the lozenge shape, though, instead of a circle. For the Battler platform. Oh, chat, I also did a thing today. There we go. Okay, I have to fix it, but look. He moves when I talk. So it's just like the real thing. Nothing has changed. P and GTuber Father Evan. Yep, it's my backup. I have actually had to... So I had this for a while, but without the, like, the moving portion. And it's a nice backup in case the camera breaks, because sometimes there are just days where the camera's just like, no. And freezes up. But I need to manage the settings in the Stream Deck there a little bit so it transfers to the right thing. Okay, we have our battling area ready. And this gives us a sense of how tall, because we're going to build a dome over this, and there's going to be like an open portion, like the missile silo is partially opening, getting ready to fire. That will give us a sense of scale of how tall to build. I want to make sure these torches aren't right next to it. I need to go to the Nether and get some glowstone for this. Trying to switch to Linux, but the camera doesn't have a Linux driver, and no one has tried. Ah! That's the obnoxious thing about Linux, is sometimes you just find the one thing that just doesn't have a driver, and there's nothing you can do about it, unless you know how to make a driver yourself, and it's like, It's amazing how far Linux has come, though, even in the period of when I was introduced to it in college. And like, Ubuntu was very user-friendly back then. But now, like, oh my goodness, it's on like a whole nother level. I've actually been thinking about switching over to Linux with Windows forcibly pushing everyone to go to 11. Does that make him a Linux kernel? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, I know there is a portal to the Nether in this server somewhere. It's on the Discord, so I'll have to go find that at some point. Hey, Mithril. In the meantime, I need to think about what material do I want the dome to be made out of. I like iron, but that's kind of expensive. That is a massive hair cross. He is literally big. So is my Avalug. My Arbok is sizeless, but is also big. I don't know which is bigger, large or big. I'm guessing big. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this peak, but all of a sudden, whenever I'm up here... Who would use iron when you can use mithril? I appreciate that, but I don't know if I can transfer a Twitch follower into a Minecraft server. Height issue? I don't think so. I think it's just something's glitching, because I've had them out and about up here before. I think it's just that there's so many mods that sometimes the server gets confused. But maybe it is a height... But it shouldn't be a height issue, because it's not like there's anything up and above. Chat, what's weak to ice? You. Grass?
Oh, yes. You know, slightly different your weakness to ice. Oh, but he was a dragon!
Grass ground flying dragon. Well, fortunately, I'm near some plains, so we're gonna go do some power leveling. Because we have 20 minutes and I don't feel like building anything with just 20 minutes left. Hey, you take care, Dio. Thank you for the raid. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Friends, if you're not following Dio, I highly recommend giving him a follow. He's a fun guy, family friendly. I fight you, sheep. Why can't I fight this sheep? Sheep are pacifists. I said consummate bees! Consummate! Look how tiny my spiel is. Good job, Spiel. Hey, it's some Gumbies. Which I thought you needed 3 of to level up. Into whatchamacallit, but apparently not. Ooh, jar of honey. Don't mind if I do. Hey, Champagne leveled up. Nope, no, I don't want to catch it. What do you mean snow isn't very effective? Okay, well, let's switch our Pokemon to Snover. What is this Wormadin up to? I do not understand this. And for that, it gets Avalugged. I do not care if you are effective against this thing. It's level 47 and huge. Let's learn Bug Buzz. And the nice thing about being here is we're very close to Pallet Town. So I can easily heal everyone. Oh, you're level 40? This was a mistake. Go Heracross. Hey, that got Champagne like 5 levels. I like the field out here someone made. I hear a zombie, but I do not want to find zombie. Miltank used rollout. Miltank used rollout. Miltank used... Flying Terra Shard. Nice. Is this Koba Berry? Huh. That could actually be really useful, considering I'm Bug. No, no, Leech Seed. Hey, Champagne got another level. Let's go. What is this? Stellar Terra Shard. Change a Pokemon's Terra type to the Stellar Terra type. Is Stellar good? I didn't know that was a Terra type. I thought all the Terra types were just the Pokemon types. And can sometimes be mismatched, which is why I have a Geodude who's a variant, who also has Electric type, who is also Dragon Terra type. Terranort? They're all Norded now. Xehanort can't be a Pokemon. He doesn't just say Xehanort all the time. Like Daisy? Exactly. Daisy's a Pokemon. Oh, Caterpie. You're about to get dunked on by this tiny Spheal. Who needs shiny when you have tiny? Well, that's Tantalus. Tantalus has a whole team that's nothing but tiny Pokemon. Wait. You're not a what are you? There you go. Okay, Elden Goss. No! You're level 45. I'm not gonna mess with you for now. Well, actually, no, I am. Gonna have Glaceon get in there with a quick attack. And hopefully not die. I said hopefully not die. Oh, you paralyzed him. Yep. Oh, come on. That's not what I meant to do. I wanted to eat the bread. He was already paralyzed. Can't it be shiny and tiny? I mean, that is the goal in life, isn't it? Yeah, if my Glaceon hadn't fainted there, we've gotten a good amount of experience, but oh well. I need to be careful because I don't think we're supposed to go above level 50 on our gym teams, even though there's a setting that, like, sets everyone's Pokemon to level 50. I don't know. In this server, I'm the friend who has no idea what's going on, but is here for the ride. I wonder. Oh, not eligible to evolve yet. Kind of figured it would be. Even though I'm not evolving it. Butterfree! Ow. Haha, Snover's immune. Yes, let's go. Nice, that was 2 levels for Snover and like 5 levels for Glaceon. Who should hopefully be learning some ice moves soon. Let's go fly back to our base, and that's where we'll call it for a day. Yeah, this week is flying by. I was just realizing it's like tomorrow is Thursday. It's the last regular stream of the week, and then Friday I'm on off, and it's like, how is it already Friday? What is the... What's the name of that healing station thing for Pokemon? Healing machine. Oh, okay. A max revive. How do I make one of those? Oh, I need regular revive. How do I make one of those? Heal powder and a honey bottle. Well, how do I make honey? Revival herb. This is what mods do. You want to make one thing, you learn, oh, okay, well, I need to make 2 of these. Like, how do I make that? Oh, you need 7 of these. Oh, how do I make those? Oh, you need 21 of these. Mods. But I think that is where we'll call it for the day. So thanks so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I have been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. Join us again tomorrow for Banjo-Kazooie for Throwback Thursday. And then Friday on P. Tony's channel, as well as here, probably, most likely, Game of Favorites. Theme is Around the World in 80 Days. Should be a lot of fun. Monday, we'll be back to Dream Drop Distance, potentially the last one. Tuesday, more In His Time. Wednesday, Minecraft. And I think that's everything. So thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, and given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you for checking out the YouTube and the Discord. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And let's see who's live that we can raid into. Hey, dear. Hope you join us just as we're getting ready to do a raid. Gonna send you over to Katie Fu, friend of the channel. Haven't raided her in a while. Raid call is Father Raid. Go give her some love. She's a fun person. She's playing My Time at Portia. It's a comfy, cozy game. You know, explore, craft kind of thing. You're lurking early. Oh, well, that's good. But anyway, hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. And God bless.